How's it going, everybody? Spurs are coming off a huge win in Boston against the Celtics, but before we get into the tape, I just want to say thank you. I hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube this morning, and I've been doing this for 6 months. I've been putting a lot of work into it, and it means so much to me that there are so many of you guys who support what I do. Um, it's humbling, it's really cool, and I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much for being with me on this ride. You make it so much more fun. I am going to be picking one of you to come to a Spurs game this coming, not this Sunday, but next Sunday against the Heat at home. So if you want to come to that game, make sure you are watching the post game live right here on my YouTube, and you'll have a chance to win that ticket. So thank you guys again, and I'll keep up the hard work for you. So the Spurs were coming off a rather surprising win against the Milwaukee Bucks at home. And then they went to Boston to play the second best team in the East, and they carried the momentum right into that game and pretty much dominated Boston throughout the entire game on their home floor. This game had a little bit of everything. DeMar DeRozan is playing his best basketball since LaMarcus Aldridge has started spacing to the three-point arc. LaMarcus still got his. Dejounte Murray looked great in the starting lineup. Derrick White and Lonnie Walker looked fantastic off the bench. And oh yeah, a fan in Boston threw a seltzer can from section 303 that almost killed Drew Eubanks. This was an interesting game. Let's take a look at the tape. Ever since LaMarcus Aldridge started shooting threes regularly, DeMar DeRozan has looked less like Diet Kobe and more like Michael Jordan with hair. He's averaging 26 points per game on 65% shooting, and he's getting most of his work done in the paint. He's able to isolate, create from the inside out, and he does so much in this offense with the space, not just for himself. LaMarcus Aldridge taking a step back as the focal point of the offense and letting DeMar control it has really allowed DeMar DeRozan to play his best basketball, and they're both thriving in this new style. Look at how many of these plays are set up by a screen by LaMarcus Aldridge. DeRozan has been shooting a couple more threes recently, but he's way better penetrating and breaking down the defense by attacking the basket. He does so in isolation possessions, pick and rolls, all sorts of different sets that get him moving toward the bucket, and LaMarcus Aldridge has been providing a ton of space to allow him to do that. Aldridge only hit 1 of 5 threes in this game, but the pick-and-pop chemistry between DeRozan and him is really awesome to see. They get pretty open looks for a guy who shot 66% on threes in his previous 8 games coming into this one. If they give you 50 of those per game, he should take 50. When Aldridge is setting screens and facilitating, the Spurs offense is at its most dangerous. It's not like Aldridge is ever going to abandon the post-up entirely. He's just been doing a better job in these recent games of picking his spots, playing out of double teams, and playing a little more creatively in the opportunities that he gets in the post. He's making quick decisions, he's not doing too much with it, and one nice wrinkle with this pick-and-roll, pick-and-pop between him and DeMar is that oftentimes it'll result in a switch that either of them can take advantage of. Also, the three-point shooting has been so nice to see. I think Spurs fans have been waiting for years to watch LaMarcus Aldridge step out to that three-point line, and he's finally doing it. He's also been a really underrated part of this Spurs defense. Aldridge has been a really solid rim protector this year, and when you consider the players that he's been sharing the floor with and covering the mistakes of, namely Bryn Forbes and DeMar DeRozan, it's been really impressive to watch him work on that end. His perimeter defense is probably going to continue to decline as his career goes on, but at the rim, he's been an effective part of this Spurs defense, anchoring them on that end of the floor. Dejounte Murray has improved every year he's been in the NBA, and this year he's shooting his best percentages from everywhere on the court. He's 10 of 15 from 3 in his last 7 games or so, and he's going to eclipse very soon his career-made threes. So his ability to space the floor is something that's been on the way for a while. But he does a little bit of everything. He plays a true point guard. He distributes. He gets his own shot pretty much anywhere in the arc he's comfortable pulling up. He's a smart player. He understands how to get guys open in their spots. And he's been another guy who's taking advantage of the spacing provided by Aldridge. A lot of these plays start with screens from Aldridge and open space for Dejounte Murray to attack. Dejounte would probably be the first to tell you that he should be hitting some of these shots inside, but his efficiency all year and probably his whole life has been very good at the rim. Also, importantly, between 10 feet and the three-point line, he's shooting 48% this year, and that makes him much more difficult to guard. Let's not forget that Dejounte was second-team all-defense the last year that he was fully healthy. This year he's shown more of the same long arms, active hands, good anticipation, all the little things that make Pop say, "All right, kid, go out and guard Harden tonight." He gets his hands into passing lanes, he makes good decisions off the ball defensively, and he has really good chemistry on the wing with Lonnie Walker and Derrick White. We've seen more combinations of those three playing together, and it's been going really well. The Celtics came out of the locker room intent on regaining control in this game, and they made their run. They did so mainly by getting open jump shots and attacking Bryn Forbes, who's been a liability on defense pretty much all year for the Spurs. He got burned on 3 backdoor cuts in this game, and it looked really, really ugly. The one thing about leaving Lonnie Walker on the bench, where he's been very productive, fitting in really well, is the defense with this starting unit. Can you afford to have Bryn Forbes out on the floor with guys like Gordon Hayward, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum? Bryn's defense got Pop to give him an early hook. Patty Mills came in, and as we all know, Patty Mills' defense also leaves a little bit to be desired. In both matchups this year with the Celtics, Brad Stevens has done a great job of attacking the Spurs' non-defenders. Throw in a few turnovers and transition points for Tatum, and things were all going the Celtics' way at a critical point in this game. Then, something weird happened. Big screen from Aldridge, looked like nobody called that out for Kemba. He's displeased, gets teed up, continues to voice his displeasure, gets teed up again. And things really came off the rails for the Celtics here. Brad Stevens got a technical. Kemba Walker got ejected for the first time in his career, and it was pretty soft. But then a Celtics fan from section 303 threw a 20-ounce can of Truly from the balcony to about a foot in front of Drew Eubanks. And any momentum that this could have had in galvanizing the Celtics was sucked out of the building by this idiot because they had to come over the broadcast and be like, "Hey, please don't throw anything onto the court. Dummies, don't do that. You'll hurt someone seriously if it hits them in the head." Somehow, the Spurs used that moment to gain their composure. Time and time again, they put the ball in DeMar DeRozan's hands, and time again, he delivered. His center is spacing to the corner now instead of standing in the paint and clogging everything up, and it has made such a difference for DeRozan. Aldridge is a bona fide deep threat now, and that's giving DeRozan all the room he needs to be Hair Jordan. I'm kind of kidding, but I'm also kind of not. I mean, he's averaging 26 a game on 65% shooting since Aldridge decided to start shooting threes. It's not a coincidence, and he's playing at an all-star level. The other thing that helped stop the Celtics' run was a combination of cold shooting and good defense. The Celtics missed some open shots, but the Spurs also played pretty good D on a lot of these possessions, giving up only a tough contested jump shot. LaMarcus Aldridge is a really underrated rim protector, and Rudy Gay had a great game defensively after a season where he's really struggled on that end of the floor. The bottom line is, in hostile conditions, when they absolutely needed to ratchet up the defense on the road against a great team, the Spurs were able to do it. And that's maybe the most encouraging part of their whole season, that they weathered that storm in the third quarter. The Spurs bench has looked really strong this year, and Derrick White is a big part of that. He had 15 points in this game and 5 of 6 shooting. Very efficient, and he attacks very well with the ball in his hands. He has an array of floaters and layup finishes that he can go to in between, little pull-up jump shots at the free throw line, He's a dynamic shot creator for himself and for other guys. He's really, really good at executing the pick and roll, and the chemistry that he's developed with Jakob Poeltl is really nice. Here's a really smart pass from Jak off the short roll to Patty in the corner for three. Poeltl has a very solid understanding of where to set screens to help his guys get open in spots that they want to be. And here, this pass is just gorgeous. Not many 7-footers can make passes like that. Last year, we saw Derrick White guard everyone from Kyrie Irving to Luka Doncic, and he's really a guy who is going to be covering one of the toughest wing threats on the other team, regardless of position. In this game, he was matched up a lot on Jason Tatum, who's a very, very good player, and Jason Tatum got to his spots and hit some shots. But there were also a lot of possessions where Derrick White got the best of him. The Celtics have a lot of wing threats, so a dynamic defender like Derrick White is good for switchability in those sets. There were a bunch of times in this game where he got beat, but that's what's going to happen when you're guarding the other team's best players. He's a principled defender who doesn't take many unnecessary risks, and all in all, he's been a great point guard on both ends of the floor for the Spurs this year, coming off the bench. One other thing that's helping the Spurs win games is that Marco Bellinelli's on espresso duty and Lonnie Walker is getting some serious run with the second unit. He had 18 points in this game, and everybody knows that in transition he's a nightmare. Lonnie had 7 rebounds in this game, and every single rebound he gets starts a transition break. He goes so fast when he's in the open court, and it really isn't fair for opposing defenses. They either have to give up a layup or foul him. Lonnie's also shooting 39% on threes this year, well above league average. Playing with this second unit, he gets a lot of opportunities to knock down catch-and-shoot looks from outside the arc. In the fourth quarter, he got going with his crossover and pull-up jump shot. This was a common occurrence last year in Austin and this year in Summer League, but it's really nice to see him getting to his spots like this and shooting with confidence in the flow of the San Antonio Spurs offense. Lonnie's shooting form is compact, textbook, and repeatable, and he has a really good understanding of how to beat the defenses to get to his spot for these pull-up jump shots. These ISO scores are nice, but this play was one of the best of the entire game for the Spurs. Dejounte takes it up, across the court to Patty. Patty drives, kicks to DeMar, who drives, hangs in the air, passes to the corner, swings it. Lonnie steps into his office. Bang! That's a confident shot from the young man right there. Look at how confident that is. Whap. I don't want to hear anybody tell me anymore that Bryn Forbes is starting because of his spacing and shooting. Lonnie Walker is shooting a higher percentage from 3 this year than Bryn Forbes. One area of the game where there's really no comparison between Bryn Forbes and Lonnie Walker is defense. Lonnie's defense has been super pesky all year. Look at this possession, the way he pesters Kemba Walker into this turnover. He fights over screens, he stays in front, and he does everything he can to make it difficult for opposing teams shooting the ball. This play, he helps on a drive, flies out to contest, recovers, and then gets back in it for the rebound. He's so active on the defensive end of the floor. Here, he turns it over, but look at the way he runs this transition break on defense with Derrick White. Derrick and Lonnie both play really well together on both ends of the court, and that might be a reason that Pop might hesitate to put Lonnie in the starting lineup without Derrick White. Whoever Lonnie's sharing the court with, you can bet he'll be fighting like hell the entire time. Now, he's still a kid. He's definitely going to make some mistakes as he continues to learn and grow in this Spurs system. I imagine Pop had something to say to him after he took this shot and then fouled to put the Celtics in the bonus. He's going to make mistakes, but he's going to grow. The guy who makes the most mistakes on this Spurs defense is Bryn Forbes. In this game, he was really playing his heart out, trying his best, but he just doesn't have the size to play defense effectively. He doesn't have the foot speed. He doesn't have any ability to stay in front. In the beginning of this game, Brad Stevens had the Celtics targeting him, and the Spurs got lucky that all of these defensive breakdowns didn't result in any Celtics points. Playing against a team like the Celtics with wing scorers like Hayward and Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum really makes you think if Bryn Forbes can even be out there. This is a great defensive play by Bryn, diving after an unforced error, and he almost got tragic with it there. The bottom line is, most of the time, Bryn Forbes is going to struggle mightily staying in front of pretty much anybody, but especially Kemba Walker. Forbes shot 4 of 8 from 3 in this game, which is obviously great, but the real problem is that his shooting is nowhere near consistent enough to justify this kind of defense. This is the kind of defense that really makes it difficult for the Spurs to win games. It puts a lot of pressure on the rim protectors. It makes it way too easy for teams to shoot open, high-efficiency looks. When Pop started Lonnie Walker in Milwaukee, I thought he had had enough of this. I genuinely thought that Lonnie Walker was going to be the starting shooting guard moving forward. And he still can be. How do you guys think Pop is going to manage the rotation moving forward? If it were up to me, I would love to see Lonnie Walker starting. That leaves Patty Mills and Bryn Forbes on the bench, but if you stagger their minutes so they don't play together and you reduce their minutes on the whole, I think that would be healthier for this Spurs team overall. You could give a guy like Keldon Johnson to back out 3 minutes behind DeMar DeRozan, and he's shown his skill set in the G League is very applicable to what this Spurs team needs in terms of perimeter defense and versatility on the wing. But let me know what you think. Drop your comments below on a rotation you'd like to see, and maybe I'll do my next video on that. Again, thank you guys so much for supporting me on here, following my work. The last I checked the statistics, it was like 125 days of watch time. 125 days? That's so much. It's weird to think about. Like I said, it's very humbling. And it means a lot to know that on the other end of this work I do are over 1,000 people who really rock with me. So thank you guys. It means a lot. I'll see you tonight for the post game, and as always, go Spurs go.